Willie Hugh Nelson was born on April 29, 1933, in Abbott, Texas. Although his birth doctor mistakenly wrote April 30th on the record, April 29th is the date his family always recognized. He was named Willie by his cousin Mildred, and Hugh was chosen as his middle name to honor her late brother. Willie's genealogy reportedly traces back to the American Revolutionary War through an ancestor named John Nelson, who served as a major. His parents, Ira Doyle Nelson and Merle Marie, had moved to Texas from Arkansas in 1929, hoping to find better work opportunities. Willie's grandfather, William, made a living as a blacksmith, while Willie's father worked as a mechanic. Unfortunately, Willie's mother left soon after his birth. His father remarried and moved away, so Willie and his older sister Bobby were raised primarily by their musically inclined grandparents. Their grandparents had once taught singing back in Arkansas, so they encouraged both children to learn the fundamentals of music. When Willie was 6, his grandfather bought him a guitar and showed him a few basic chords. From those early days, Willie and Bobby performed gospel songs at their local church in Abbott. By the time he was 7, Willie wrote his first song, and at 9, he began playing guitar for a local band known as Bohemian Polka. Growing up in Abbott was not always comfortable. During the summers, the family worked picking cotton with other residents of the town. Willie came to loathe the hard labor of cotton picking, so he discovered a more appealing way to earn money, singing in local dance halls, taverns, and honky-tonks, starting from age 13. He continued these small performances through his high school years. Willie attended Abbott High School. There, he played several sports. He was a halfback on the football team, a guard on the basketball team, and a shortstop in baseball. He also raised pigs through the Future Farmers of America. Alongside sports and his farm projects, Willie continued to pursue music. While still in high school, he joined a group called the Texans, a band formed by his sister Bobby's husband, Bud Fletcher. They played gigs in local honky-tonks and even had a Sunday morning spot on KHBR radio in Hillsboro, Texas. During this period, Willie tried out various odd jobs. He worked briefly as a relief phone operator in Abbott, then spent some time as a tree trimmer for a local electric company, and later as an employee in a pawn shop. These experiences showed him what everyday labor could be like, but music remained his real passion. After graduating from high school in 1950, Willie joined the U.S. Air Force. However, he served only about 8 months before receiving a medical discharge because of back problems. Returning home, he met and married Martha Matthews in 1952. 2 years later, from 1954 to 1956, Willie attended Baylor University, where he studied agriculture and joined the Tau Kappa Epsilon fraternity. Nevertheless, he dropped out before completing his degree so he could chase his musical dreams full time. Along the way, he found himself in a variety of other occupations. He was a nightclub bouncer, an auto house partsman, a saddle maker, and eventually a tree trimmer again. Around this same time, Willie joined Johnny Bush's band, a small stepping stone that allowed him to keep performing and sharpening his craft. Willie and Martha's life soon involved frequent relocations as he tried to find new openings in the music business. Willie's big break toward a more music-focused life came when he moved with his family to Pleasanton, Texas, and auditioned for a DJ job at radio station KBOP. The station's owner, Dr. Ben Parker, hired Willie despite his lack of experience. Working at KBOP gave Willie access to recording equipment, and in 1955 he used that station equipment to cut his first demos. The Storm Has Just Begun, and When I've Sung My Last Hillbilly Song. He sent these tapes to a local label called SARG Records. They unfortunately rejected the tracks, but this was only Willie's first attempt at finding a broader audience. Soon he worked at other radio stations, KDNT in Denton, KCUL, and KCNC in Fort Worth. where he hosted a program called The Western Express, taught Sunday school, and performed nightly in local clubs. Feeling the urge to explore new opportunities, Willie briefly moved west to San Diego. When he couldn't find steady work, he hitchhiked north to Portland, Oregon, hoping to reconnect with his mother. Although this period was difficult, it deepened his determination to pursue music. Upon arriving in the Pacific Northwest, Willie got hired by KVAN in Vancouver, Washington. He frequently appeared on a local television show, which helped raise his public profile a bit. In 1956, he made his first official record, release No Place for Me, with Lumberjack on the B-side. This initial offering did not achieve commercial success, but Willie persisted, juggling the roles of radio announcer and club singer. He even worked a series of short gigs in Colorado and Springfield, Missouri. When those efforts went nowhere, he returned to Texas. For roughly a year, Willie walked away from music to sell Bibles and vacuum cleaners door to door. Eventually, he landed a sales manager position for Encyclopedia Americana. In 1958, Willie and Martha welcomed their son, Billy. During that year, the family moved to Houston, Texas. As they passed through, Willie stopped at the Esquire Ballroom, aiming to sell his original compositions to the singer of the house band, Larry Butler. Butler refused to buy Willie's song Mr. Record Man for $10, but instead offered Willie a $50 loan so he could rent an apartment. Along with the loan, Butler gave him a 6-night-a-week performing job at the club. This small break allowed Willie to settle into Houston. He also worked at a local radio station as the morning sign-on disc jockey. During his time in Houston, Willie released 2 singles on D Records. Though these songs did not make him a star, Willie kept forging his path. Through a guitar instructor named Paul Buskirk, Willie took a job teaching students. Around the same time, he sold 2 of his original tunes, Family Bible for $50 and Nightlife for $150. Family Bible eventually became a hit for Claude Gray in 1960, a sign that Willie's songwriting talent could succeed even if he had not yet found his big break as a solo artist. In 1960, Willie moved to Nashville, Tennessee, hoping to secure a recording contract. Despite his growing skill as a songwriter, he struggled to land a deal. Nashville was a tough environment, and Willie frequented Tootsie's Orchid Lounge, a bar near the Grand Ole Opry, where country stars often hung out. There, he met a fellow songwriter, Hank Cochran, who was working for Pamper Music, a publishing company owned by Ray Price and Hal Smith. Cochran admired Willie's talents and successfully convinced Smith to divert $50 a week from Cochran's own pay to sign Willie onto Pamper Music. It turned out to be a worthwhile gamble. Before long, Faron Young heard Willie perform Hello Walls and decided to record it. Ray Price recorded Nightlife, and Willie joined Price's touring band, the Cherokee Cowboys, as a bass player, filling the vacancy left by Johnny Paycheck. His songwriting gained traction. Funny How Time Slips Away, Pretty Paper, and most famously Crazy, became hits for other artists. Crazy would go on to become one of the most played jukebox songs of all time. Willie's gift for writing heartfelt, memorable songs was finally getting recognized, though mostly through other singers' success. By August 1961, Willie had signed with Liberty Records and started recording at Bradley Studios in Nashville. 2 early singles, Willingly, a duet with Shirley Colley, who would become his second wife, and Touch Me, charted in the top 10. In 1962, he released his first album, And Then I Wrote. He married Shirley Colley in 1963, and soon they moved out west to work for Pamper Records in California. Willie later returned to Nashville and signed with Monument Records in 1964. Fred Foster released only 1 single of his, I Never Cared for You, before Willie moved again. In 1964, Chet Atkins convinced him to sign a deal with RCA Victor, paying him $10,000 a year. Willie released the album Country Willie, his own songs, in April 1965. That same year, he became a member of the Grand Ole Opry, and he also met Waylon Jennings in Phoenix, forging a close friendship that would later shape the outlaw country movement. Despite these steps forward, Willie's records were not huge sellers. He did place some singles into the top 25 from 1966 to 1969, including One in a Row, The Party's Over, and Bring Me Sunshine. But by 1970, Willie was growing disillusioned with the business side of Nashville. He divorced Shirley Cauley that year, and a devastating event struck. In December, his Ridgetop, Tennessee ranch burned down. Interpreting the fire as a sign, Willie picked up stakes, moved to Bandera, Texas, and married Connie Kupke. He managed one more minor success, I'm a Memory, in early 1971, before deciding he needed another change. By April 1972, RCA wanted him to renew his contract early, implying they might not release his latest recordings if he refused. Frustrated by what he felt was a lackluster reception to his music, particularly the album Yesterday's Wine, Willie decided he was done. He essentially retired from the music business, intending to go back to Texas and figure out his next chapter. Willie settled in Austin, Texas, where the music scene was blending country with the emerging hippie culture. The laid-back vibe was a perfect fit, and Willie's local fame skyrocketed as he performed country music tinged with folk and jazz influences. In March 1972, he appeared on the final day of the Dripping Springs Reunion, a 3-day country festival. Although the festival did not meet its attendance goals, it planted the seed for Willie's own annual 4th of July picnic, which he launched the following year. Willie hired a new manager, Neil Reishan, to help extricate him from his RCA contract and negotiate a fresh start. Atlantic Records, hoping to expand into the country genre, offered Willie $25,000 per year, making him their first country signing. He formed a new backing band, The Family, and by February 1973 was in New York City recording Shotgun Willie. Released in May 1973, the album drew strong critical praise but sold only modestly. Nevertheless, Willie later described it as the album that cleared his throat, marking a personal artistic turning point. In 1974, Willie released the concept album Phases and Stages, which tackled the story of a divorce from both a woman's and a man's perspective on separate sides of the record. The single Bloody Mary Morning caught on with fans. Also that year, he produced and starred in the pilot episode of a new PBS television series called Austin City Limits, shining further light on the unique Austin scene. Feeling emboldened by his critical success, Willie signed with Columbia Records under a contract granting him complete creative control. In 1975, he recorded Red-Headed Stranger, a stark, largely stripped-down album featuring just guitar and piano for accompaniment. The label was skeptical about releasing such a minimalist record, but Willie and Waylon Jennings insisted. Columbia agreed, and the album turned into a runaway success. It included Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, which became Willie's first #1 hit as a singer. During his 1975 tour, Willie helped raise funds for local PBS stations to promote Austin City Limits, which eventually ran nationwide. The show's popularity soared, and it became a staple of American music television. The press soon labeled Willie and Waylon Jennings as central figures of outlaw country, a subgenre that pushed back against Nashville's polished norms. In 1976, they teamed up with Jesse Coulter and Tom Paul Glazer to release Wanted, The Outlaws, which became country music's first platinum album. That same year, Willie also released The Sound in Your Mind and the gospel album Troublemaker, both of which later achieved gold, and in the case of The Sound in Your Mind, eventually platinum status. By the late 1970s, Willie was enjoying a string of successes. In 1977, however, he discovered that his manager, Neil Reshin, had been extending his tax filings rather than paying them. This eventually led to Willie's serious problems with the IRS down the road. The tension worsened when a package containing cocaine was sent from Reshin's office to Waylon Jennings. The police traced it and arrested Jennings, though the charges were later dropped after Reshin's assistant took the blame. Disgusted by the turmoil, Willie fired Reshin and hired Mark Rothbaum, the assistant who had confessed. In 1978, Willie released 2 blockbuster albums. Waylon and Willie, his collaboration with Jennings, included the iconic Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys. Meanwhile, critics predicted that Willie's other 1978 project, Stardust, might tank his career because it was an album of pop standards. Instead, it also went platinum. Hits like Good-Hearted Woman, If You've Got the Money, I've Got the Time, and Uncloudy Day kept Willie front and center in country music. During the 1980s, Willie extended his popularity with On the Road Again, originally composed for the movie Honeysuckle Rose, which soared to #1 on the country charts. He also covered the Allman Brothers' Midnight Rider, recorded a duet with Julio Iglesias, To All the Girls I've Loved Before, and teamed up with Merrily Haggard in 1982 for the album Pancho and Lefty. One interesting twist occurred when a session guitarist pitched Always on My Mind to Merle Haggard, who wasn't interested. Willie, unaware that Elvis Presley had already recorded a version, ended up doing it himself. The single shot up to the top of the country charts and reached #5 on the Billboard Hot 100. It garnered Willie 3 Grammy Awards and earned quadruple platinum certification. Willie's next recordings with Waylon Jennings, W-Do 1982, and Take It to the Limit, 1983, continued to showcase the pair's synergy. In the mid-'80s, Willie combined forces with Jennings, Chris Christopherson, and Johnny Cash to form the Highwaymen. This supergroup went platinum and toured widely. Willie also used his fame for charity work. He was part of the We Are the World chorus in 1984, and in 1985, he co-organized Farm Aid, an event to support struggling American farmers. His collaboration streak continued. The 1985 album Half Nelson compiled a list of Willie's duets with the likes of Ray Charles and Neil Young. Willie became a bit of a White House regular, performing on the South Lawn in 1980. He developed a friendly relationship with President Jimmy Carter's administration. An oft-repeated story has Willie smoking marijuana on the roof of the White House, a legend he neither fully confirmed nor denied for many years. By the start of the 1990s, the IRS debt that had been piling up through Willie's manager's mismanagement finally came due. His debt to the government reached a shocking $32 million. Some of Willie's investments in questionable tax shelters during the early 1980s only made matters worse. Willie's lawyer negotiated the amount down, and eventually Willie released a double album, The IRS Tapes, Who'll Buy My Memories, with all profits going to the government. Friends bought up many of Willie's seized assets at auction, then returned them to him under nominal arrangements. Over time, Willie resolved the whole matter, including settling a lawsuit against the accounting firm that had advised him to make those bad investments. Despite these financial woes, Willie kept touring and recording. The 1990s brought a different musical landscape, but Willie continued to produce new material, including the well-regarded 1998 album Teatro. He collaborated with the jam band Fish, reconnected with his friend Johnny Cash, and in 2003 recorded Beer for My Horses with Toby Keith, which spent 6 weeks atop the country charts. The following year, that song's video won Best Video at the Academy of Country Music Awards. Willie's 70th birthday was celebrated in a 2003 USA Network television special. Around that time, he also appeared as a guest vocalist on Ringo Starr's Ringo Rama album. His collaborative spirit extended beyond country music. For example, in 2004, he was featured on Toots and the Maytals' album True Love, which won the Grammy for Best Reggae Album. The following year, Willie released Countryman, a reggae-influenced record that showcased Toots Hibbert of the Maytals on one track. Besides music, Willie devoted energy to philanthropic causes. In 2005, he headlined the Tsunami Relief Austin to Asia concert, raising an estimated $75,000 for UNICEF to assist victims of the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake. Willie's willingness to blend genres, collaborate, and lend support to humanitarian work maintained his reputation as one of music's most enduring and generous figures. In 2007, Willie performed with jazz trumpeter Wynton Marsalis at Lincoln Center. The performance was released the following year as Two Men with the Blues, which reached #1 on the Billboard Top Jazz Albums chart and landed in the top 20 of the Billboard 200. Around that time, Willie recorded Moment of Forever, 2008, with longtime producer Buddy Cannon, an album that blended Willie's classic style with contemporary touches. Continuing his streak of eclectic collaborations, Willie joined Marsalis and Norah Jones for a 2009 tribute concert to Ray Charles. The live recording was later released as Here We Go Again, celebrating the genius of Ray Charles in 2011. Also in 2010, Willie put out the T-Bone Burnett-produced Country Music, which charted high and was nominated for a Grammy for Best Americana Album. In 2011, Willie participated in Kokua for Japan, a concert to aid those affected by the devastating Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. Later, he signed a comprehensive deal with Legacy Recordings. This new arrangement granted Willie freedom to release new material as well as reissues of older music with potential bonus tracks. Buddy Cannon again served as a key collaborator. Their creative process involved Cannon recording basic tracks with studio musicians, then Willie completing the recordings with his guitar later. They even co-wrote new material by exchanging text messages. Under this new contract, Willie released Heroes in 2012, featuring guest spots by his sons Lucas and Micah, as well as Merle Haggard, Snoop Dogg, Chris Christopherson, Jamie Johnson, Billy Joe Shaver, and Sheryl Crow. It reached #4 on the Billboard Top Country Albums chart. Willie followed with To All the Girls. In 2013, a collection of duets with prominent female singers like Dolly Parton, Loretta Lynn, Roseanne Cash, Sheryl Crow, Mavis Staples, Norah Jones, Emmylou Harris, Carrie Underwood, and Miranda Lambert. It landed at #2 on the Top Country Albums chart and made a remarkable debut at #9 on the Billboard 200 in 2014. Willie offered Band of Brothers, featuring mostly self-penned songs, a first for him since 1996. That album topped the country charts and rose to #5 on the Billboard 200, proving that Willie's songwriting mojo was still as strong as ever. Late that same year, Only Me, a duet with Rhonda Vincent, reached #1 on Bluegrass Unlimited's national airplay chart. In June 2015, another collaboration with Merle Haggard, Django and Jimmy, took the top spot on the Billboard Top Country Albums chart and climbed to #7 on the Billboard 200. The momentum continued into 2017 with God's Problem Child, again co-produced with Cannon and primarily featuring new songs co-written by Willie. It debuted at #1 on the country charts and #10 on the Billboard 200, demonstrating Willie's enduring appeal across generations. In 2018, Willie contributed a song called Cruel World, written by Daniel Lanois to the soundtrack of the video game Red Dead Redemption 2. That same year, Willie joined other artists on Restoration, an album of Elton John covers, done in country styles. He recorded Border Song for that project. His 2019 album Ride Me Back Home took the number 2 spot on Billboard's Top Country Albums chart, and its title track earned Willie the Grammy Award for Best Country Solo Performance. In 2020, when the COVID-19 pandemic forced lockdowns, Willie took to live stream concerts, raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for those facing financial struggles. One event called Come and Toke. It had a cannabis theme, with some proceeds going to a restorative justice program for those convicted of marijuana-related offenses. Willie's brand as an advocate for marijuana legalization was once again on display. Also in 2020, Willie accepted an offer from Karen O of the Yeah Yeah Yeahs to collaborate on a cover of Under Pressure, originally by David Bowie and Queen. This unexpected musical pairing highlighted Willie's continued willingness to experiment. Willie stayed busy with new releases. The Willie Nelson Family, 2021, and A Beautiful Time, 2022, each garnered Grammy Award nominations. In fact, at the 65th Annual Grammy Awards, he won in 2 categories: Best Country Solo Performance and Best Country Album. Meanwhile, a 5-part documentary titled Willie Nelson and Family premiered at the 2023 Sundance Film Festival, delving into his long and varied life in music. For his 90th birthday in 2023, Willie performed 2 special concerts at the Hollywood Bowl, a testament to his remarkable stamina and beloved status. That same year, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Then came 2,024 references in his career timeline. Willie appeared in interludes on Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter album, part of her trilogy project. With the reported death of Chris Christopherson in September 2024, Willie Nelson became the last surviving member of the Highwaymen supergroup. Throughout these decades of musical triumph, Willie's personal life was anything but dull. He has been married 4 times and fathered 8 children. His first marriage was to Martha Matthews, 1952 to 1962, with whom he had 3 children, Lana, Susie, and Willie Billy Hugh Jr. Their relationship was rocky. Martha once sewed Willie into bedsheets and beat him with a broomstick, a story Willie himself has recounted with a wry sense of humor. Their son Billy tragically died by suicide in 1991. Willie's second marriage was to Shirley Colley in 1963. It ended in divorce in 1971, after Shirley discovered hospital bills indicating that Willie and Connie Kopke had welcomed a daughter, Paula Carlene Nelson. Willie married Connie that same year, and they had another daughter, Amy Lee Nelson. He and Connie divorced in 1988. In 1991, Willie married Annie D'Angelo. They have 2 sons, Lucas Autry and Jacob Micah. Annie has been an anchor for Willie in the often chaotic world of touring and performing. In 2012, Willie also learned he had a daughter named Renee, who was born in 1953 to a friend of his, Mary Haney. Renee connected with Willie as an adult, sharing Father's Day photos with him in 2016. Sadly, she passed away in 2017. Willie maintains a ranch called Luck, Texas in Spicewood, as well as a home on the island of Maui, Hawaii. His Hawaii residence places him among a circle of celebrity neighbors. In 1981, he suffered a collapsed lung while swimming in Hawaii and had to cancel several concerts. Over the years, Willie battled repeated bouts of pneumonia, eventually quitting cigarettes but continuing to use marijuana for relaxation and self-medication. He later used carbon-free methods to smoke marijuana to reduce stress on his lungs. Willie has also undergone surgeries due to the strain on his hands. In 2004, he had carpal tunnel surgery, which forced him to take a short break from touring. In 2012, he canceled an appearance near Denver because high altitude was aggravating his emphysema. By 2015, he tried stem cell therapy to bolster his lungs. Despite these health setbacks, Willie has displayed remarkable resilience, returning to the stage time and again. Given Willie's long-standing advocacy for marijuana, it is perhaps no surprise that he has had several brushes with the law. His first arrest for possession was in 1974 in Dallas, Texas. In 1977, while traveling with Hank Cochran to the Bahamas, Willie ended up in jail when Customs found marijuana in his luggage. Cochran bailed him out, but Willie then hurt himself by jumping joyfully and was taken to the emergency room before he could appear before the local judge. The charges were dropped on condition that he not return to the country. In 1994, Willie was again arrested near Waco, Texas, for marijuana found in his car. He missed attending the Grammys that year because of his required court appearance. In 2006, heading to former Texas Governor Ann Richards' funeral, Willie's bus was stopped in St. Martin Parish, Louisiana. Police discovered marijuana and psychedelic mushrooms. Willie accepted responsibility and received 6 months of probation. A high-profile arrest came on November 26, 2010, when Border Patrol officers in Sierra Blanca, Texas, found 6 ounces of marijuana on Willie's tour bus. He posted bail and was released. The local prosecutor joked that Willie could simply pay a small fine and sing Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain for the court. However, the presiding judge insisted that Willie be treated according to standard legal procedure. Willie's lawyers eventually worked out a deal with the prosecutor. This entanglement left the case open for a while, but ultimately no major jail time materialized. And that's all for today's video. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up, let us know your thoughts in the comments section, and subscribe so you won't miss out on future uploads. See you next time.